safely in tow, there was only one more hurdle for the pilots to overcome.
It was also during this time that the attraction went under its most extensive and elaborate rehab. Is that correct? That's correct. What is all that noise? What is all that noise? Well, let's chat about this. Now, the attraction is 30 years old and in need of technological advancements and little new nuances. So tell us about this rehab that occurred.
Well, I would say one of the biggest surprises to me during the course of the rehab was the fact that it became such a media event. Swear to God, we didn't start it as a political correct Pirates of the Caribbean, but somebody got a hold of that, and because we were coincidentally working in the chase, we thought that was the scene where some of these new gags would work real well, and as I mentioned earlier, we borrowed some figures from World of Motion in Epcot, and they were perfect fits, and it allowed us to create some of those elements that Mark had always wanted to put into the show. And one of my favorite ones is actually the leaking barrel of rum, which was originally, I believe, was designed to go across the river from the auction scene. And our guys up at WDI came up with a great little effect that I think is really marvelous that shows the rum streams coming out of the barrel. So that was a natural to go in that scene, and we were able, what was very exciting for me was to pull one of the figures from the very end of the ride and put him up on top, wiggling back and forth on the barrel. And that allowed us to come up with a whole new tag to the show with the pirates that are also too greedy, pulling the treasure bag that'll never succeed, because right behind them is the omen of dead men tell no tales. It's a nice little tag to the ride, I think.
But also, didn't you bring back some of the nuances that had kind of been lost throughout the years back in the attraction? Tell us about that, Kim.
Well, I think although this was the most extensive modification we've made through the years, the design studio has slowly been adding more and more things, enhancements to the ride, to Walt's word that the attraction would always be improving and things would be added to it. We've added fiber optics and special effects to the treasure scene through the years, the pirate map and treasure chest and obnoxious parrot in the beginning, opening scene there. And so it's been important to us to continue to try and add things as technology brings us new things.
Well, now we have some film footage that you can maybe talk through here, and might show us some of the changes and some of the nuances that occurred. I believe there were some changes to the battles.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, during the last rehab in '99, we were actually able to add 2 soldiers to the fort, which we've always heard them over the years, and now they actually peak up a little higher so you can see. Interesting story about the auction scene is that during the course of the '97 rehab, because of the media event, in fact, I think it was actually the opening joke on Bill Maher's politically correct premiere show, we actually got scared. There was some management that thought, well, maybe we should change the pirates and make them politically correct this time. And we had to do some design development work, and fortunately Paul Pressler came through at one point and said, hey, we're not going to do this, put that away. I was very grateful for that. This was one of the fun gags at the chase scene, where this is another one that's like the pirate with the hat on the boat. They'll never succeed, and they're not supposed to. And my personal favorite at the end of the ride is the two guys trying to get too much treasure out, and never will.
You guys added a little gag in there too, a little painting on that staff.
Tell
us about that.
That's Captain Blackbeard himself, Peter Ustinov from Blackbeard's Ghost, which it seemed to me that if the pirates were going to take things of value, it would be a portrait of their hero.
Well, now, in your opinion, what is the most impressive aspect of this attraction? You guys have worked on many attractions. What's the most impressive aspect?
I think of all the attractions, this has the most amazing staging. You can tell the story immediately upon coming to it. I think Mark is a real master at that. Between the mood of the lighting, the way the figures, expressions, the way they're painted, you can read exactly what he's trying to say before you even hear any of the script. And I think that's...
Now, whenever there's a rehab done or an attraction opens, there's a lot of pressure, as I mentioned earlier. And, at the time, it seems like a lot of hard work and everything, but through the years, it kind of becomes Disney lore. Are there any funny stories that occurred with the rehab and the reopening of the attraction, or even with the opening of the attraction itself? Are there any funny stories that came out of that retrospective?
Well, I'd have to say the one that was a personal favorite of mine during the 97 rehab was I had a tendency to do covert things when I was here at Disneyland, trying to get a little extra something.
On to the next question.
So I was attempting to get the soldiers into the fort during that rehab, and I was having them brought backstage and to be delivered to the attraction, and sure enough, up walks our project manager wanting to know what the hell I'm doing. So those soldiers had to wait a couple of years, but they made it.